Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a deck profile. We have go ahead and say your name and say what you did today. Or I guess it was
My
this
name,
week.
yeah. No, it was on Saturday. My name is Josiah Nelson. I went to the 3v3 Megaton. It was like four case. It was two case. Was it two? No, it was because of case. Yeah, it was a 4 case tournament. 3v3 over at Unmatched Games in PA. Christian, you're in his store. We got fourth place. I went 4-1 in Swiss with Rikka Sunavalon.
All right, awesome. First off, any shout outs you want to give before we get into the profiles?
Yeah. Shout outs to you for some of the extra deck decisions, 100%. Shout out to a couple of my friends who lended me some cards and Team Straw Hats. Let's go.
Yeah. We've been theoring this list like every like couple months or whatever. We'll just like message each other for like a while and just like figure stuff out. So it's always awesome to see one of us doing well with it. All right, go ahead and get into the list.
Sure. Yeah, so the list that actually got top 32 at YCS, the YCS that just happened, he went on the other build that I was considering, which was upping the count of the Sun Avalon cards, playing more copies of Lone Fire Blossom so that you can play the Therion package. But in the end, I decided to go with the Rikka build, the more pure build with less Sun Avalon cards. I like the consistency of it.
Yeah. I think that the main thing is like the Therion cards are like they're really powerful, but like sometimes they are breaky, and so just having the consistency is sometimes just better, especially because your end board is usually like insane. But yeah, go ahead and get into it.
It's usually set like seven to nine interrupts. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But my favorite extender. So there's the 1-for-1 and the 3 die. If I had to choose which one to have between these two, it would always be 1-for-1.
Always.
Specifically, just because I like that flexibility of being able to choose. Because if you open like die and 1-for-1, or die plus loci, or die or 1-for-1 with pedal, you can always like branch into the other engine. And what you can always do is make your combo pretty much free from hand traps by getting a pedal on the field, dumping Princess, and then just with pedal Princess pressure, you can just do some Avalon combo, and you're safe from everything but imperm.
Yeah.
So these are the 4 extenders, also starters, and then we play the 2 copies of Loci. You can play 3, play 1. I like it at 2 because I play multiple sewing, and obviously there's the die and the Lone Fire. But I personally, if I had to choose what to open with, I would choose pedal, which I max out on. This is the deck's grind. This is like everything that this deck has going for it. Honestly, like before the support, this was the insane card, and then Princess and Concon came out, and it's like, oh, now this deck's actually like, it went from like unplayable rogue to actually being like tier 2, able to compete with meta. But Petal is the OG OP card of this deck. She's just a consistent Rhoda or dump every turn, and comes back in the end phase of your opponent's turn.
Yeah, the dump is actually really relevant, especially if you get drolled. I know it's not like super popular this format, but there's definitely been times where you get drolled, and that actually like matters a lot.
Multiple times too. What I'll do is if I have a way to get Petal and Princess dump before committing to a combo, I always pedal dump the Princess to play around the droll.
Yeah.
There is the 1 Lone Fire. This just branches the engines. This is the worst one to open because if it gets ashed, and ash is very common in the format again, you don't have the body to extend with, because all of the extenders, all of the best extenders of the deck, the 3 Mudan, the 3 Glamour, and the 2 Sewing, all of these can extend through a hand trap if you get like impermed, ashed, or veilered, as long as the body is still on the field. I was initially playing 1 Sewing. I upped it up to 2 because even if you start with your Rikka engine and like Petal gets hand traps, you can still link into the Dryas and hard activate Sewing, and that gets you 3 bodies on the field, so you have the body for Jasmine. I really like playing 3 Mudan and just 2 Concon, which is like sort of an extender, but sort of isn't. My logic behind it is Mudan is always live. Same thing with Sewing, same thing with Glamour. That's why these 8 extenders are favorites out of the ones in the deck over Con. Because if you get hand trapped while doing Sunavalon combo, Con doesn't get you anywhere, where all of these essentially get you to Con.
Yeah, makes sense.
I like just 2 copies of Princess. I don't really think she accomplishes a lot on her own in your hand. And 2 is plenty enough because with 2 copies, with it shuffling back into the deck, you always can cycle through it.
Yeah,
something that came.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna, even if you get like DD crowed like randomly, like, and you just like can't chain the princess for whatever reason, like it's fine because you still have the 1 in deck, and like being able to recycle it is just always like insane. So like you really don't need more than 2.
Yeah, no, multiple times throughout the event. What I would do if I opened up multiple combo cards is, on top of playing around hand traps, I would try to get either multiple Petal or multiple Princesses in rotation, specifically Princess, so that they couldn't do that, where they like preemptively crow your Princess out in interruption.
Right.
But, and then I was on 2 Primula. I would definitely play 1 in the future. I don't think 2 is necessary. Just because I'm bad, I like having 2, because I always like being able to glamour search Princess and Primula and then trigger Primula in a new chain. But I don't know. This is one of those cards where it's just I never really like seeing it in the hand. Like it's playable, but that's about it. Yeah. Especially in like grindier states too, when you're like relying on your top deck. This is like the last card you want to draw.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
I'm on the 1 Snowdrop. You need it for the combo to end on Alcai, Strenna, and Bengal Lancer. But also, it's just a great extender and a great card for breaking boards when you have this plus Con. Yeah. The level manipulation comes up a lot too, especially like post turn 1. If you don't get to full combo, you sort of just end on like a Strenna or like a Bengal Lancer. Like post turn 1, this is like one of the best extenders you have access to in your deck. The sheet, this is the card that more or less breaks the deck with Con. Like Princess is pretty good with Con, but sheet to just take 2 versus Tearlament is absolutely absurd. It's great versus Sprite engines as well. We are on the 1 Garnet. This card will glue to your hand, and it doesn't really do anything in your hand. You can like level modulate it to 4 with Primula. You can normal summon it to summon a Loci back, or special it with Snowdrop to get a Loci back. But ultimately, you want this in the deck to summon off Jasmine.
Yeah.
Or Dryas, sowing through Dryas. Yeah.
But if you open it, you can like, if you kind of have to hope you have like unexpected die. Otherwise, like it's just like stuck in your hand and there's nothing you can do about it.
More or less. So
sometimes,
that's
yeah. Sometimes there's a line with like Snowdrop that you can like summon it, but like it's like super rare and super hard to accomplish.
Yeah. So that's it for the engine. So ultimately we've got like 8 extenders. And the really nice thing with Glamour is it also serves as a starter. So Glamour with Petal, Glamour, Petal, Lone Fire, Loci, Die, and 1-for-1s are all like 1 card combos that can get you to something.
Yeah, the insane thing is like half of the starters are also extenders, and so like you just have so much consistency.
100%. And then that also opens up a lot of room for non-engine cards. I, for the event, thought tier was going to be super relevant, and I think most people caught on. It was a lot of, from what I saw and had to face, there's a bit of rogue there, but most of the tier players were on the control builds, and versus the control builds, Valor and Imperm, they're not bad. They're definitely still some of the best interruption, even Crow, but like none of them feel as important as they were before, like last format, where like every tier deck was just trying to combo and you felt like you needed to have these to stop the Kit Kalos and the fusions. Now a lot of times, like versus the control variants, it's like Ash unbranded and high spirits is enough a decent amount of the time.
Yeah.
I would definitely change the hand trap lineup. I think Ash and Imperm are really good right now. I don't know how I feel about Crow or Veiler. I mean, once the Ishizu cards come out, it's a whole nother story. But Cosmic is, I would say that probably the MVP of these cards here is the Cosmic Cyclone. Being able to hit Fountain, Smashers versus Sprite, or being able to hit Soliak versus Tier is just like it. I can't put into words how much work it puts in, especially when in tangent with any of the other hand traps to stop whoever you're going against from ending on a full board.
Yeah, even just going first and setting as an interruption for like Pearl Arena is like still really good.
For sure.
Just a lot of utility with that card.
So then onto the extra deck, we're on just 40 for the main. I don't like going above 40. I feel like if I were on the Therion cards again, I probably would go over 40 just because I wouldn't want to open the Field Spell or Regulus every game.
Yeah.
But when you're playing mostly Rikka cards, I feel like you want to minimize the deck as much as you can to see die and 1-for-1 more often. We are on 3 Dryas, 2 Healer. One of these healers can definitely just be a Thrasher. I mean, really, it doesn't come up. You only need 1 to be ahead in life points for time. And the 3 Dryas, the logic of 3 Dryas is if your first one doesn't resolve, you can get it off the field with, so if you started with Die, you can Glamour it away, search another Loci and Petal, normal the Loci, make another Dryas, and none of its effects are once per turn. Or you can, if you open Lone Fire, you can Lone Fire Tribute it away. So you can still do full combo if you have 3, but if you play less than 3, you are down 1.
Yeah. There's also some lines where you can make the Jasmine and then Lone Fire Tribute Jasmine to summon Loci from deck and make Dryas. It's like it comes up sometimes, but it's like really awkward.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. As far as the healer, one of them should be Thrasher. There's like in an open born game state, you can deal 89 damage just like by putting up Bang a Lancer, and then a Thrasher that can attack twice. So it's 64 plus 25, so it's 89 this game. It's just like I think it's just like slightly better. Just for like,
what are the zones on Thrasher? Does he point left or does he point up?
I believe he points down.
Down? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's insane because you can just summon Bang a Lancer from grave.
Yeah.
Or is it what he points to?
I don't think it matters what he points to.
Okay, sure. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't remember. This one's kind of irrelevant, to be honest, like where it points, but
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. That was one of the things that actually comes up a lot is struggling to put damage on the board. Unless you can like save a Strenna effect to tribute in the battle phase with a teardrop. Yeah. That was how I got most of my OTKs, was just it'd be like Strenna, teardrop, battle phase, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gaming, attack with the Strenna, and then tribute it away.
Yeah, tribute in battle, yeah, and then teardrop gains an extra 200 and summon something back.
Yes.
So yeah.
I am on 2 Jasmine. This actually did come up and comes up multiple times where you put them in the spot where if you have the setup of healer, Jasmine, Dryas, you healer, target the Dryas, and then they imperm to stop the search. You can then tribute 2 of them away into another Jasmine, which lets you still do your entire line just with 1 less body.
Yeah, you get 1 less extender because you don't get the surge, but you can still like summon Lone Fire or Mudan or like Petal from deck, so it's like always so good.
Yeah. No, to the people that don't play 2 Jasmine, I don't understand because it comes up for me a lot. Like, I can't express how much I would recommend it.
Yeah.
It comes up more than the triple Dryas from my experience, but they both do come up. I'm on the 1 Dance PNA. I sacked one of my opponents with this. I milled. He interrupted everything. I linked 2 into this, and then I milled Mudan Princess. And then Mudan searched the Con, and it was just like the dude was just like, oh my god. But then like two or 3 other times I tried it, they whiffed. So it's like sometimes this card just sacks your opponent. I would say the main thing that I use this for, to be honest, is in really weird simplified game states where the level modulation is like super relevant.
Yeah.
Because she can target a plant engrave. any monster, not just plants, but any monster she points to become the level of the plant you target, and none of the plant XDs you play require like plant monsters as material. So that's really important to note.
It's super relevant if you play like Nibiru, because you can summon your Nibiru in like one of the far zones, and then just like make this, and then turn your Nibiru to like a level 4 and
Strano. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, but no. This card came in clutch. Would not cut it. I was on obviously the Melias Bengalancer for the combo. You link away Jasmine and another body into Melias, and then you turn them into Lancer. Yeah, Bengalancer put in a lot of work. The main thing is bouncing extra deck monsters like Get Kalos. It's just absolutely cracked.
Yeah, always.
And then for the XCs, I was on, reorganize these, 2 Strenna. If there was anything I would change, I would want to play 3 Strenna if I could fit more room. It did come up once where I Strenna effect targeted the other Strenna to add it back to hand, so I'd have access to another one. It's so much easier to make Strenna than it is to make rank 8s. And then also just the fact that you can do that where you tribute her in the battle phase for extra damage does come up. Yeah. But this card's insane. And then I chose to play an extra rank 8. I was on Teardrop and the Hyperton. The standard combo, you end on Strenna plus Hyperton for a spell negate. The big thing I would say that's important is with your Strenna, if you do sheet before you Princess and you tribute your Strenna, you have to summon Teardrop off the Strenna, otherwise you can't resolve your Princess Engrave because you need a Rikka monster on the field. Or even in like simplified game states where like you don't get to full combo and you just end on Strenna, Princess, sheet. It's always important to make sure that you leave a Rikka monster on the field. The last rank 8 that I was playing, though, I was playing Elsai, and I summoned this guy multiple times. Not just to out back row, but like a lot of times I wouldn't want to do math, and I was like, there's probably a way to line up game, or I could just make Elsai and put one of the cards on his field that does nothing to the top of the deck. I did that 3 times.
Yeah, I think that Elsai is really, really strong just because like there's no way to out back row on this deck, or there's just like random like things that'll come up that like you just want to like Elsai just put on top, especially because like if you can't kill them, if you stack their draw, then like they're just drawing a brick, and so it's just like really good. It's basically a turn skip sometimes.
Yeah, no, the other thing to note that came up, I don't remember what I was against. I think it was when I was against Flunder. He has a giant booty. It's 3,200 defense, so I just summoned him off the Strenna once because it was big enough to not get run over. No, it was versus Tyr, I think, and I did it after he had used his Kaleido. So that is it for the extra deck. For the side, these should have been Drolls for the event. They were not. I was on 3 Chaos Hunter. Mm-hmm. The logic was Chaos Hunter literally just ends the turn of the Runic player. Will Droll hurts the turn, but doesn't end it. But I faced 2 Flunder. Mm-hmm. And I really wish that those Chaos Hunters were Drolls.
Really?
I also
feel... Oh yeah, because Chaos Hunter is also
you can't.
Summon.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If you play Mannequin Cat, doing the line to summon Shifter back and then just locking them for the rest of the game and being able to play is pretty sweet.
There's no way to do that in this deck though.
No, we're plant locked forever. Yeah. But I definitely think Drill's correct, even like coming into upcoming formats. I think the amount of work it puts in versus Sprite. Like, even if they use a starter in the draw phase to summon their blue, when they jet in the main phase, or it's specifically if they can't do that, if they don't start with the starter and draw phase, you can stop them from getting to Smashers, which is like the worst interruption for this deck, because this deck just does really, really poorly against removal-based interruptions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's that. This deck struggles versus back row. So we were on 3 Evenly, 2 Lightning, and a Harpies. Evenly is insane. This is definitely, I think, probably the MVP of the format until Magnificent Mavens comes out. This card, I think I sided in versus pretty much every deck. Just nothing's ending on Omni Negates right now. So you can sort of side it in versus everything. Lightning Storm was very, very good versus Flunder because it can also out the Barrier Statue, which this deck folds to. These 4 cards were awful versus Flunder. And then for my going first options, I was on 3 copies of Judgment and 3 more copies of Judgment.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I think I've read this like twice. It's like if you control plant, you negate spell trap, or do you have to tribute it? I think you have to tribute it, right?
It has the exact same text as Solemn Judgment, but instead of saying pay half of your life points, it says tribute 1 plant type monster.
Okay,
for the cost.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it is 3 more copies of Solemn Judgment. So I was like, if I'm not going to play the Therion cards, I really need a way to not lose automatically, like on the spot to evenly.
Yeah.
And this card, honestly, it even like overperformed, I would say, because if you can't full combo, you're always ending on a plant. And a lot of times, if your Sun Avalon engine gets interrupted, you can always get to your Strenna, and this card plus Strenna is pretty insane, honestly, as you contribute your own Strenna as the cost for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's really surprising.
Yeah, no. I used it versus Sword Soul just to negate his summon, tributing Strenna, versus Flunder. I think I negated the field spell with it.
Can you negate normal summons with it? Normal or special? I can like hardly read it, just barely.
Yes.
That's actually kind of crazy.
It literally reads. It is literally 3 more copies of Solemn Judgment. It's negate the activation of a spell or trap card or the normal special summon of a monster and destroy that card.
I think that's just like really good. I think that maybe one of them should be a pointer because I think a pointer might be like slightly better because you also get the knowledge. But still, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely overperformed. I think really ultimately, once we were in Top Cut, there was nothing I could have done better. Actually, like my 2 teammates lost before I even got the chance to lose. I was most likely gonna lose him too, though. But yeah, the only thing I definitely could have done differently was the last round of Swiss versus Flunder. I left in 3 Valor. Because basically I sided in these 6 cards. Mm-hmm. I took out 3 Crow, and then I could have taken out 3 Imperm or 3 Valor as my other choices. And I took out the Imperm because I didn't want to overcommit to setting cards onto the field. Because I was like, I know Flunder plays Lightning Storm, and so I'm sure some of the list will play evenly. And then he de-shifted me, and I hard opened 3 Valor, my opening hand game 3, and I was just like, I deserve this loss.
Yeah, no, that's unlucky.
But yeah, no, I think the biggest strength that Rikka has going for it isn't even the ceiling of its board, because a lot of times you can't get to your board. I think the strongest strength of this deck is its grind. Like the grind potential with Petal and Con is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, always being able to remove a monster and always getting a surge, like for free, is just.
And the other thing with Strenna is the ability to add sheep back from grave. So if you can't push for game, you can just keep looping your princesses and your sheets and drawing the game further out. Yeah. But yeah, the resources the deck has are pretty much infinite. I don't know if it's going to be able to contest with Ishizu, but I definitely feel like if Ishizu doesn't break the format, this deck's still in a very solid spot.
Yeah. What do you think you would take out for the 3rd Strenna? I know you're mentioning that earlier.
Honestly, the only thing I could take out is a Jasmine or a Dryas, because none of the other cards you can really remove. Yeah. And if you can't take out any of the rank 8s, otherwise the 3rd Strenna becomes irrelevant.
Right, that makes sense. So, I mean, maybe the Dryas is what I'm thinking, but like, I don't know. It's definitely hard.
It comes up. It comes up too much, yeah. Especially if you go to like a regional event or higher, and you're doing like 9 rounds. Like guaranteed, one of those matches, it's gonna come up.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, any last things you want to say?
Rikka best deck.
Rika best deck.
Not much else. I'm really excited to try Therion variant again. I think it's a little better now. If people, especially if people are moving to like lava golems, fear mode, power cards,
Right.
I feel like it's definitely much better than hand trap build. But we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see what it does. All right. Well, thank you for the profile.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.